What? Uh-oh, there's a problem.
You're live. It
Hey,
says you're live.
hey, what is up, everyone? We're doing our first daily Jace live. Very excited. I've got my good friend Jordan Hinton here, ex-Canoe Polo New Zealand rep, and also an awesome pharmacist. Jump on, Jordan Hinton. How are we?
Good, man. Good. Just yeah, had a busy week, as you can imagine,
I'm
and
sure, I'm sure.
yeah. Mm.
Tell us, for all those millions of viewers out there, tell them a little bit about yourself before we get right into it.
Okay, sure, man. So yeah, I'm a pharmacist. I've been qualified for a couple of years now. I've been working in Hamilton at one of the pharmacies up here. Pretty busy one. We're attached to an A&E, so we see lots of stuff. And yeah, Jason said I've done a bit of sport around New Zealand and overseas, and met this crazy guy a couple, oh, what, like seven or 8 years ago now at
Yeah,
Grafton,
something like that. It was a
something like
while
that.
back.
A
A
while
few
back
fun
now, yeah.
times in the mix.
Yeah, man, for sure, for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, so that's me,
awesome,
pharmacist, sportsman. Yeah.
awesome, awesome. So I brought Jordan along because I know that there's a few questions out there with coronavirus. He's a pharmacist. He's on the forefront of what's happening. He knows like everything all to do with drugs, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So, Jordan, what's been happening in the last week? What have you seen?
What a week, man. What a week. So obviously, kind of started for us last Thursday or Friday. Not just this week, because everyone was getting a bit panicky, which is, understandable. Even just coming in for all kinds of things that they uh, may or may not have needed, but coming in, getting them, which was a busy, busy time for us. And then Monday obviously hit, and we went to level 3, and was announced that we were going to level 4, and that kind of shifted things again. We in the pharmacy went from having our full complement of uh, 16, 17 people down to 6, working in 3 teams across 2 shifts to make sure that we're staying safe, and to make sure that we can still operate. If anything goes wrong with one of us, it doesn't affect everybody, and that people can still get their medicines. So that was a big change for us, and made it made it super busy because we were dealing with oh, 2 to 3 times the workload with a third of the staff or half the staff. So it's been a
Yeah,
hectic week. It's been
crazy, crazy.
absolutely mental,
So,
man.
so when
Yeah.
you say they've put all these restrictions in place to keep you guys safe, what does it
Mm.
actually look like out
Um,
there in the pharmacies?
yeah, good question, man. So for us, I can't speak for all pharmacies, obviously, and just for what we're doing at my place is that we only let one person in to the store, and they're only allowed in basically just in the door. We've got big plastic dividers up to keep a screen between us and them, and everyone at the front is wearing a mask and gloves, and just having to keep clean everything pretty much every hour or two. We've got to wipe it all down and make sure that it's sanitized, and just basically least contact the better for us. So call us if you want anything, not to come down. If it can be
Yeah,
a phone call, make it a phone call.
yeah.
That'd be
I
much
heard a
appreciated.
rumor. I heard a rumor floating about the place that the pharmacists weren't getting the PPE that they needed. Is that true? Is that in just some regions? Is it in hospitals? What was there
Um,
something going on?
yeah, man. Unfortunately, like because it's all so new and it's changing every day, I don't know too much either. We have been contacted about getting some, so we are getting some sent to us. Um, it's coming.
It's
You know,
coming.
it's coming. Um, I don't know exactly when, because obviously it's such a massive pandemic, and
Yeah,
massive operation to get all the hospitals and everything done. That
yeah, for sure.
it's just taking its time to come to us. So that's why we're doing like masks and gloves at the moment. And
Yeah.
for anyone at the front door, they definitely mask and gloves sort of thing. Everyone
Yeah.
he's going to come into contact with, and just trying to keep as clean as we can, sort of thing.
Oh, so
So
that's for the customers only. The
no,
customers have
no. So it's
mask
for
and
the
gloves.
staff. No. So it's for the staff. It's for
Oh,
staff.
okay.
So when I go to work, I put my coat on and I glove
Yeah.
up and a mask up, and got to work like that for my
Yeah.
time there.
So what more do you need from the government while you're waiting on? Is there extra
Um,
precautions?
well, because obviously coming into flu season now, right, is a big one, and lots of people have been asking for their flu jab, which is fantastic. Hopefully, we can help sort that out for them at some point. But for us to stay safe while we're doing it, we do need the full proper PPE, gown,
Mm.
gloves, mask, um, just to minimize any potential contact that we have. Because for you guys coming in, you're just going to have contact with me, but I might deal with 100 flu vaccinations in a day,
Holy
or
moly.
you
That's a
know,
lot.
maybe a slight exaggeration, but I mean,
Yeah.
over the last fortnight, we had a stock of 140, I think, vaccines, and they went in about 2-3 days. So like
Gone. Just
that's
like that.
just gone, and so that's the kind of volume that we're dealing with, and so
And so what's the comparison compared to other years that you've been on
well, there's 400,000 more vaccines this year, like
around
stock
the
wise,
country? Yeah.
around the country. So I think last year was 1.4 million doses, and then we've got 1.8 million doses this year. So there's
Massive.
massive increase, and just the general interest in them, man. Like
Mm. And
people,
what's the feeling when people enter a pharmacy? Are they like looking around at other people, like wondering how much distance to like come into contact? Are they giving each other the evils, like unconsciously? What's happening there? Like
uh,
I seem to when I go for runs outside, I think that everyone looks really wholesome because like there's actually families biking around and
mm,
spending some time together.
mm,
People are exercising and then hunkering down in their
mm.
chosen locations. But I guess when you have to go to the pharmacy, people are sick, people need drugs. They're not too sure what their health
Yeah.
situation is like. So what's it like?
Well, I mean, so like I said before, we only let one person into the store at a time, and they only come in basically like a meter inside the front door. They're not actually allowed to shop around. If they
Yeah.
need anything, we've got to go and get it for them.
Oh wow.
And then so basically, there's just a massive line. So yesterday I was working, and we had probably 20 people in line. So you can imagine 20 people in line, all spaced out 2 meters apart.
Yeah.
It's quite a lot. It's quite a long line.
Yeah. How many people have you had lining up at one time?
Uh,
The
we had
max.
people waiting for an hour in line just to get to the front and talk to us.
Yeah.
And then we were getting, and it's usually about a fax prescription, because obviously people are stuck where they are, and so they get their doctors to send us prescriptions, because they can't go back to where they normally get them from.
Yeah. Do you find
And
there's like a backlog of prescriptions just because people have to wait? And
yeah, insane amount of backlog. Like so, we normally do maybe say 500 scripts on average a day,
yeah, yeah,
and we
quite a
did
lot. I didn't expect that.
1100. We did 1100 with half the number of staff.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's kind of a, a a guesstimation of kind of what the
Mm.
levels are. And so yeah, there's been massive backlogs. We were only managing to clear faxes and things from 2 days ago yesterday.
Oh
3 days
wow.
ago yesterday. So it's
Yeah.
about and we were telling people 48-hour turnaround.
Yeah,
If we can get it done quicker, we'll message you, we'll text you, let you know
yeah,
it's done. But unless it's urgent, of course, right? Like unless it's someone's antibiotics, or if it's something they've completely run out of, like sure, then we'll try and get it done a bit quicker. But even
yeah.
then,
Sure.
that was a 3-hour wait still for those sort of things.
We got Connor commenting. Check it out. Connor,
There
what's
we go.
up? How's it going? Oh, mutual
Hey,
friend
dude.
of ours. He's a good man. Connor Lindsay, how you doing? Hope the lockdown's going well.
Yeah,
um,
stay safe, stay inside.
exactly. Wash your hands. Yeah. All that good stuff.
Mm,
And
mm.
is your pharmacy compared to others a big one, a small one? Is it busier than
Um,
others? Have you been like communicating with other pharmacies?
yeah, I mean we're a big pharmacy. We're one of the bigger ones in Hamilton. Normally we're open 8 o'clock to 8 o'clock every day of the week. We don't
Yeah.
close except for Christmas. It's the only day. So we do a lot of stuff over weekends and things. So
Mm.
for us, it's I mean, 500 is a decent amount of scripts to do normally.
Yeah.
Like again, these are all just rough numbers, right? Like I don't know the exact things, but so we're doubling our work, I'd
Yeah.
say, and yeah,
And I
we're
know
back.
that I know with the situation, there's a lot of fake news. Do you think there's any fake science that's going around that you hear about in the pharmacy at the moment, or some
Um,
scams that you've heard of, or that
oh,
people are coming in with?
a family friend of mine got an email to say that she could purchase some hand sanitizer uh, online through this blah 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 blah. And basically, it wasn't strong enough hand sanitizer. Essentially, it was like
Oh yeah.
it was not, the alcohol content wasn't enough to actually do anything. And so,
Uh,
so there's these sort of things probably are going around. And I saw a guy on the side of the road mixing what looked like hand sanitizer out of his boot and like setting up a
Really?
roadside store. Yeah, so that was a different one.
I've heard of a
Um,
whiskey brand that's created their own hand sanitizer. I think it's the Good Boys, and
yeah, I've heard that
yeah,
too. Yeah,
like is it assuming it's high enough percentage? Would do the trick, wouldn't it?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
it would.
mate,
Yeah, because I mean,
mate.
what happened? I mean, we had a same thing happened here in Hamilton. One of the breweries around town has started making some because they've got like they have the facilities to do it, right?
Yeah.
And so that we're just so slammed with needing it that they've jumped on board and started making some as well. So that's kind of cool. We saw some come in the other day, and it comes in like a squealer bottle, like a
Oh, so
500
good.
like a 500 ml bottle you drink out of, and
So
it's just full of hand sanitizer, which is pretty cool.
can people just use their normal spirits like
No,
vodka, whiskey? No, what happens there?
nah. So to be a good hand sanitizer, I think it's like 70%. It's got to be something like that.
Yeah, and
It's quite high.
those spirits aren't high enough, are they?
Nah, most spirits aren't high enough to actually do anything.
Yeah. So
And the other thing is, what it does is the alcohol, it sucks all the moisture out of the thing and like it bursts them. So
oh wow,
if it's
the
not high
virus, you
enough,
mean?
yeah, all this if it's cleaning that, it's what it does. It just kind of alcohol evaporates right really quickly
Yep.
normally. So
Yep.
to make it into a gel, it stays on your hand a little bit longer and just evaporates slowly and just bursts bugs and
And,
things.
and
It's
keeps
kind of
your normal cells safe and sound.
Yeah, it's kind of how it helps to kill things. So if it's not got high enough alcohol, or if it's not going to stay on your skin long enough. So if you're just using like a bit of vodka out of the cupboard and just rubbing it on, well, it goes
Yeah.
pretty quickly.
Oh,
Doesn't really
pretty
do
gnarly.
much.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
it just kind of
Well,
evaporates.
what about oh there what about a vaccine? I know that there's a lot of people out there wondering what's happening globally if there's a vaccine. How quick is the science? Do you have any insights into that?
Nah, unfortunately, man, I don't. Pretty much just been keeping up to date with whatever is going around in the news as well. I had heard that they were working on one, but I don't really know much about that. Can't
Yeah, yeah.
can't really comment on that one. Don't know too much about it.
No,
So
fair
I,
enough. And
I don't want to I don't want to add to the fake news.
yeah, yeah,
Start,
no doubt.
start
There's enough funky science out there and fake news
yeah.
and
Mm,
rumors. It's all a bit of a wild west out there when it
mm,
comes to this kind of stuff.
yeah.
What do you think your personal thoughts are on the global situation, the lockdown in New Zealand? What do you think is going on? What's the next moves? How long are we going to be in this for?
Yeah, man, those are great questions. Obviously, yeah, personal opinions, not reflective of my business in any way, shape, or
Yep.
form. Please don't
No,
take
no,
that the
for
wrong way.
sure. No, no,
Um,
that's cool.
yeah. Um, well, it's interesting, right? Because we've never experienced anything like this. No one's got any uh, kind of indication as to how long this possibly could go on for. Um, and you see some good thoughts going around, like 4 weeks. I think it'll be a bit longer. I think
Yep.
it'll be a bit longer than 4 weeks.
What's your
Um,
gut feeling tell you? How long do you think?
Probably like 6 weeks.
Oh, yep, yep,
I think it'll be another couple because
yep.
I mean, and it all depends on how well people adhere to what's been told, right?
Yeah, for
You know,
sure.
the more we can stick to it, the quicker we'll get through it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And hopefully things can resume a normal way, or at least semi-normal way of life.
Yeah,
Which is, it's never going to quite go back to normal until it's controlled worldwide, right? Like we can't all of a sudden
yeah,
open up our borders to travelers again if it's still running rampant worldwide, because all it ends up doing is chucking us back in the deep end again.
yeah, for sure. We might be
Um,
the first country that can go coronavirus free, you know. So
hey, who
we might
knows? Yeah.
jump down those alert levels, but like you say, if everywhere else is still up and arms about
Mm,
um, their own situation and people are
mm,
dying on the streets and the healthcare
mm,
systems are overrun, there's no
mm.
point opening those borders, right?
Exactly. So, I mean, yeah, you're right. It might get to a point where we're okay, but then really just depends on the global situation, I think, as to whether or not things go right back to normal again. I personally don't think it will. I think there'll be some sort of border measures in place still.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah.
but being an island nation, it makes it super easy to do that sort of stuff, right?
Oh yeah, we're super lucky being in the corner of
Yeah,
the world, so isolated.
yeah,
We can do all our work on technology, or a lot of
mm,
industries can. Those essential services are still running. We A lot of our economy runs on primary industries, so we've got all the food we need for our 4.5 million people. You know, like
yeah,
it's not like we export or we import all those things. So
mm,
we're lucky in that regard. We can sustain ourselves in these times. You know,
yeah. And
we
I
just
guess
have
the other
to.
thing,
What
sorry, man.
God?
I was gonna say the other thing is, right. Thankfully, it's not yours or I's decision. So we just
Yeah,
kind of
yeah, yeah. Let the big boys and girls up top sort it out.
exactly,
We
exactly.
just
We
do
just
what we're told.
exactly, man. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But it's interesting to think about because
Oh,
obviously
yeah.
the planet will change for better or for worse. There'll
Mm.
probably be a lot of innovation coming out of this time, hopefully. Um,
Well, exactly, and
it's-
I don't know if you've seen, but I don't know if this is fake news or not, but they were saying that pollution levels have gone down in some places, and
yeah,
mer-
well, yeah, Mother Nature's getting a break, right? All
exactly.
the all the coal companies have shut shop for a few days.
Mm. Yeah,
No more
yeah.
smoke. And I was actually in Beijing a few years ago, and Trump was coming to visit, and so
Oh
they
yeah.
turned off all their factories, and so
Oh,
apparently it was like the bluest skies that they had in like a few years because
oh,
they turned off all their factories, and yeah, everyone was enjoying the sun for
wow,
once in
crazy
a
man.
few years. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
nuts.
So
That's nuts,
yeah,
dude.
there's some
Mm,
good things coming out of this. But
mm.
yeah, I saw this TED talk. I think it's floating around the internet like crazy at the moment from Bill Gates. A few years ago, he said that the world is not ready for a global epidemic, and it
Yes, I did see that too. Yeah,
was so
I had a
true.
watch of that.
And
Mm-hmm.
and then there's these speculators who think he planned it all.
All the conspiracy theorists,
Yeah,
eh?
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly. Like, everyone always thinks the worst of people when they give a warning, you know? Like, and
it's
if they're right
doomsayer.
about that warning, then it's their fault, you know?
Yeah,
We
yeah,
need to actually listen to these smart people, you know? They might actually know what they're talking about.
yeah. The other one that really, really gives me a laugh every time I read it is, and this is more on the lighter side of things, is people who are anti-vaccinations are getting a bit of a glimpse at what an anti-vaccination world looks like. You know,
Yeah, 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 for sure.
and
Yeah,
then
I didn't think
that's
about that actually.
yeah, that's probably quite a good point. Is that we don't have a vaccination for this coronavirus, and look
Mm,
what it's doing. Whereas we look at the influenza virus, which again is a respiratory illness, right? It affects your breathing, it affects your lungs and things like that. And we have a vaccination for it, and it's not a big
mm.
problem. You go down to your pharmacy, you go to your doctors, get your vaccination, you should be good. You
But
know.
those who don't have vaccinations against the flu,
Hmm.
are they dying at the same rates as the coronavirus?
Oh, I don't
Is
think
it?
so. No, I don't know the 100%. No, and I'm not using coronavirus and influenza as a direct comparison. It's more
Yeah.
for the principle of vaccination here.
Mm.
Don't take this as a direct comparison between the mortality rates of
Yeah,
influenza
for
versus
sure.
coronavirus, right? Like they're not, you can't really compare them that much.
Yeah.
But
For our viewers, how do vaccines actually work? Because I know there's a lot of fake science out there. So coming from a
sure, man.
pharmacist, just give people the lowdown and
Yeah, well, it was
from
really interesting.
an expert.
Yeah, I had this conversation with a lady at work last week. She came in asking if she wanted to settle an argument with her husband, saying vaccinations lower your immunity, and I had to put a stop to that right there and then, because no, they don't.
Yeah.
What vaccinations? And there's a couple of different types of vaccinations, right?
Okay.
There's live vaccines. There's attenuated vaccines, and not 100% sure if there's a third one or not, but basically live ones are just that. Or sorry, live attenuated is the same thing, and then there's dead vaccines. Live attenuated is like a really weakened form of the virus, and
Like a
so that,
microdose.
yeah, like a real small kind of little glimpse at what the thing is. It's alive. It still can replicate, but it's basically um, weakened down to like 10% and can't run rampant through your body anymore. So it gives your immune system a little glimpse at what it is, lets your body go, hey, okay, here's how I deal with this. And then when you get the real thing, when you get the full blown proper normal virus molecule come into your body, your immune system goes, cool, I've seen this before. Here's how I clear it up. Done. Easy peasy. Then you've got like the dead vaccines, if you want to call them, which are just that. They're like a fragment of the virus. You've chopped it up into little pieces. You've taken the part that causes your body to recognize it, and
Is that the genetic code? That little bit when you
not
say
quite
chopped
not
it up?
no, they've basically taken on the virus. There's little markers on a virus which your body's immune system recognizes as not
Oh yeah.
being you. You know,
Yep.
your body recognizes all your molecules as being you, but recognizes via these markers on the molecule that it's not you, and starts attacking it. So what they've done, they've all the virus and just taken the markers, sort of thing,
Mm.
and um, injected them into the body and said, here you go, here's the markers. If you see these markers, you need to, kick in the immune system and start fighting it off. So again,
Yeah.
very obviously very simplified, and by no means the
Yeah. The
be be
extent of
all
science.
be all
Yeah.
and end all. But essentially, that's what a vaccine does, is that it gives your body a chance to view the virus or whatever you're vaccinating against in a weakened state, or a dead state in most
Mm.
cases. Like the flu vaccine is a dead one. It's just components of the virus, so that your body can recognize it, and if you get it in future, actually deal with it as if you'd seen it before, and you clear it off. Um, and the flu vaccine, a lot of the misnomers around the flu vaccine come because your body doesn't have that response right away, right?
Yeah.
Like you inject something right now, tomorrow is not going to be any better for you, because your body hasn't had the time. Your immune system hasn't made the copies. It hasn't made the memory cells. It hasn't made all the helpers, like all these things that
Yeah.
are part of the immune response. Hasn't made any of these.
So how
So
long
it's
does it take normally,
I
or it
bet.
varies from vaccine to vaccine?
Yeah. So I mean, we'll do it based on the influenza vaccine, right? So the flu vaccine
Yep.
is about 2 weeks,
Yep.
and that's probably a good kind of estimate for most
And do
most vaccines. Is like about 2 weeks before your
do some
body's kind of.
do some
Sorry, man.
people get sick with those vaccines? Like just
Well, they
because
get
they're
sick,
having
don't they?
their little micro doses?
No, so you can't catch the disease you're vaccinating against from the
Yep.
vaccine.
Oh, awesome.
Okay, so what
So it's
what what
win-win.
happens is, yeah, so because it takes those 2 weeks to, remember, it takes the 2 weeks to deal with your body to make those
Yep.
things. In that time, if you catch the virus,
Yeah.
you're gonna get sick because
Yep.
you've caught the virus from an external source. Nothing I can do about that. I'm sorry. You just got unlucky, and you kind of caught it in that 2 week period where you're trying to
But after
protect
that
yourself.
2 weeks, you've got
Yeah, It's
a shield for
90.
life or until
S-
until the following season?
Usually it's just season per season for influenza.
Yeah,
Other vaccines last longer,
yeah,
but because influenza, the strain of influenza that's most prevalent each year changes,
mm,
um, because it has changes, right? It can do that. They're allowed to mutate and all that kind of stuff, and so because it mutates or changes, it's got different markers, and so your body needs to know which the markers are. And
yeah,
I mean, look, the flu vaccine that's out at the moment has got 4 different strains in it. So it's the four most prevalent ones that we can find and make. And so it doesn't protect you against absolutely everything, but
yeah.
99% of the flus going around will be caused by these ones, and it protects you against most of them. And yeah, you get the flu vaccine, you should be safe. 90,
Awesome.
99% sort of thing. Just if you get that 2 week break, if you get sick in
Yeah.
that 2 weeks, I'm sorry, man.
That's the one.
Sorry, bud. Bad
Yeah.
luck.
Try and
Try
get
again next year.
early. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
and that's the thing, right? Is like the flu vaccine comes out about normally in a normal year, the flu vaccine comes out now, end
Yeah,
of March, start of April. It's not really winter yet, is it? It's not.
yeah,
It's autumn. It's getting colder, but it comes out a little bit before the season so that you have that 2 week um, lead-in period where it's there, you're getting it done, and then hopefully you're protected throughout the rest
sure.
of the year. And I guess
And
the other, yeah, you go.
go on, go on.
I was just gonna say the other
Finish
big
your
thing
point.
is right is that some people can't get vaccinations because of their immune system being compromised by
Yeah,
other
yeah,
things. So
yeah,
for you and I, we should get it all the time because it helps everybody else who can't get it. Because if you and I can't get sick, well, there's one less person that can pass it on to someone who can't get the vaccine. And it's a little bit what they're doing with coronavirus, right? Like because we're not coming into contact with so many people, there's less chances that we can pass it on to people. So
yeah.
breaking the chain, breaking the carrier cycle sort of thing.
And that's what they mean by flatten the curve, right?
Yeah,
So that then
yeah,
the health system's not overrun by this whole situation.
yeah.
Another question. So
Mm,
there's the flu virus is like it's quite seasonal. Winter comes, everyone gets the sniffles.
mm.
They get a sore throat. Is Corona the same? Do you know? I know it's
I
early
don't.
days.
I
This
I
is
don't.
the first
Yeah,
three
I
months.
don't, man. I don't know. I really don't know. There are obviously this is COVID-19, right?
Yep.
So there are other variations of coronavirus. I mean, you may have seen the one where Dettol was advertising that it kills coronavirus on the back of its bottle somewhere.
Oh, okay. Was that
Um,
in New Zealand or
no,
just overseas?
I think it was just like a worldwide thing. But that's because coronavirus isn't new, but coronavirus 19 is new.
Mm, there you
So
go. Is
there.
it the 19th strain of coronavirus?
I think
Is
it's
that
something
how
to
it
do
works?
with. I think it's something to do with 2019. It was discovered or something.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Like I don't
Makes sense.
from my understanding, it's not the only type of coronavirus around,
Yep.
but it's the only one that we have to care about because it's the one causing the pandemic, right?
Yeah. That's the one
Um,
causing the carnage.
yeah. So I mean,
Yeah.
the reason that you get the influenza one every year is because it changes and it mutates, right? And that's part
Yeah.
of the reason why you can't vaccinate against a cold, which
Mm,
is, your common cold is rhinovirus, which is a type of virus, but it mutates so quickly that by the time you um, developed an immunity, a vaccine to the common cold, it's changed and it's something completely different now.
So,
Yeah.
uh,
Mm,
if this coronavirus or the COVID-19
mm.
mutates at the rate that the flu mutates, we could be in the world of hurt in the next following years.
Mate, I don't know. I don't know. It's yeah. Don't
Carnage.
extrapolate. Don't add to the don't add to the news of uncertainty.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
just don't know, man.
absolutely. Hectic.
It's very new, and obviously
Yeah,
they're working on a vaccine. And I cannot really speculate on the ongoing effects of it. I
yeah,
just don't know. I don't want to put information out there that's not right or not correct or is because it's just changing daily, right? Every day last week we had something change in our pharmacy in terms of how we
yeah,
operate because that's
yeah,
how
yeah,
quickly everything was changing last week. And maybe in a month or two's time, we might know some more about the virus itself. Maybe there's some more research breakthroughs. I don't know, but at this stage, it's just too hard to it's too hard to say.
Yeah, the whole world's in a bit of a panic at the moment. Everyone's looking to each other. Oh, what's your country done? Does it work? What's our country done?
Yeah.
But I think on the whole, like, no matter what your politics are, I think that Jacinda has done a good job at communicating with the people of New Zealand what's happening. Like, you look to other leaders worldwide and you think,
Mm.
oh, what is happening over there? Um, like
Yeah.
everyone knows we're in lockdown, like it sucks. Everyone,
Yeah.
like the economy will take a hit for it, but
Mm.
you can tell that this government, they have the people at heart, and they want to try and save lives. Like the lockdown
Yeah.
is quite
Yeah.
dramatic, but
It's a big step, but it needs to
yeah,
happen.
yeah, and
Like you said before, flatten that curve, right? Flatten that
yeah,
curve.
everyone's heard that message loud and clear.
Yeah,
But
I should hope so.
yeah. So how many hours are you working a week at the pharmacy these days?
Well,
Is
we just changed, so I'm supposed to be doing less. I'm supposed to be on a
supposed to.
supposed
Yeah. What does
supposed
that
supposed
mean?
supposed to be on a six day on, 3 day off. Like I said, we split the team into split
Yeah.
the pharmacy into several teams, so that if someone gets sick, that whole team can just be laid off, but the pharmacy doesn't close. Because if we
Yeah.
close, you can't get your medicines from us, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
People need their medicine.
people need this stuff, right? And it's not just like it's all their heart medication, it's all their diabetes medication, it's all their asthma medication, stuff they would, this is going to sound harsh, stuff they would die without,
Yeah. Yeah. They
or
need their
potentially, you know,
medication.
they need their medication. So we've done that. We've attempted to make sure that if someone gets sick, we don't have to close. Um, so I was supposed to be doing 6 days on, 3 days off, 6 hour days,
Mm.
and I think so. That's 6 is 36 in a week, right? I think I did
Yeah.
60. I think I did 60-ish hours last
Go
week.
you. Thank you, Mr.
Um,
Essential Service.
You're welcome.
Not all heroes wear capes.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, so for me, it was a bit longer because I did the Sunday, I worked
Yeah.
Sunday and then 6 days.
Yeah.
So that was 7 days of work already. And then couldn't Monday, Tuesday, we just couldn't leave. There was too many faxes. So what we did there is I put my mask and my gloves and put myself in a room and locked the door basically and said, "Don't come
Holy
in here.
moly. And
I'm just
just
gonna,
went to
I'm
town on those scripts.
just went to town and typed frozen, did as best I could. And then
I,
afterwards, I cleaned the whole room and went home. That's the kind of situation
whew.
we're in. So
Yeah,
if
yeah. We're
you're
in
gonna stay,
emergency mode.
yeah. hmm
Yeah.
So that was a big
Um,
week for me.
I saw a company up in Auckland. I've forgotten what they're called, but
Mm.
essentially people can text in the prescriptions that they need, and it gets delivered to their door. I don't know if that's
Oh,
a service nationwide. I think I just saw on the side of a van. Do you know if
oh,
those kind of companies are still operating and what the go is there?
yeah, man. I don't know. Obviously, there has to be. We're doing deliveries at work as well because there has to be because you've got all your old people can't or shouldn't be coming
Yeah,
out, right? And some
yeah.
some people some older people don't have friends or family around that can go and get it for them. So there's definitely delivery services in most pharmacies, if not all pharmacies. So that
Okay.
doesn't surprise me that there is some sort of delivery thing going around. Um, and yeah, as for the texting of scripts, normally you wouldn't be able to do that. We need the original bit of paper. But again, in this time, I think there are being allowances made. Um,
Maybe it's an app that is connected to your doctor, and I'm not too
Look,
sure,
maybe,
but
man.
it looked
Maybe,
pretty
man.
cool.
Yeah, I
It
mean,
was pretty
we get
innovative.
we get emails sent through to us that we do it from the email. Usually that's from the doctor though, not from the
Yeah,
patient.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and if it is from the patient, then again we're trying to make allowances in this time, but it just kind of depends. Just kind of depends.
yeah, yeah.
It's really
Case
it's
by
really hard
case.
to case by case for that sort of stuff. But mostly your doctors will send it straight to the pharmacy, so that there's no need for you to go into them to pick it up.
Mm,
Because that's the whole point is the doctors don't want you coming in if you're not sick. So usually it's
yeah,
just being sent. Usually it's just being sent straight to the pharmacy.
Yeah. Do you think like this is a massive speculation, so this is
Okay.
like your own
Okay.
thoughts, but do you think
Okay.
there'll be some changes maybe at government level or DHB level with how our healthcare systems are run based on what is going on because of the situation, or I don't know. Do you have any insight into that
Yeah.
area?
That's a super interesting question, man. It's not one I've thought about. So I guess first kind of thoughts on that. Um, I mean, this is I don't know. I want to say maybe not, because this is so novel, it's so
Yeah,
new
yeah,
that the health system beforehand was working, right. It was doing its job. It was there's always issues with any system, but we were getting your medical stuff done.
it was
Um,
funded. People were
it was
getting care.
Yeah,
You know,
right.
like
Like it was a workaround.
yeah,
I maybe there will be some changes out of this which we've not yet come across because it's still so fresh on in the
mm,
piece, and I imagine there will be some future planning involved with um, this is what happens if this happens again, because it's never happened in our lifetimes. No one,
no,
no one has had to deal with this, barring World War II. Sort of, this is the level of lockdown we're on, right? This is on
yeah.
par with
The,
with World
the
War kind of two,
yeah, the last one was the Spanish influenza in 1918, I think.
something
Do you
like
know
that,
what?
right?
Do you know what brought an end to that one? Was it just herd immunity, or was it enough
Nah,
people getting
uh,
care? Or
I don't know. I haven't looked into that. I can't say.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but yeah, look, man. Um, as it's changed to our regular system, I don't think so. As a
yeah,
change to our ongoing pandemic planning, I'm imagining there's going to be some plan put in place for future if this sort of stuff happens again.
for
Um,
sure.
and look, there might be changes, but I don't think there'll be huge, massive, groundbreaking changes to our old
Mm,
system because of this. It'd be more like there'll be precautions and procedures in place for if something like this happened again.
yeah, yeah. And there's
Because
always little viruses floating about, no matter what,
yeah,
and
there's always stuff going on.
with globalization, I guess the likelihood of something spreading
Mm,
globally is just
mm,
easier, right? These days
yeah,
compared to
yeah,
100, 200 years ago, right?
exactly. Have you actually that just brings me up. Have you read is it Sapiens? The book Sapiens?
I read the first two chapters or first chapter or something,
Yeah.
and then I moved down to Dunedin. So it is on
You
my book
yeah,
list. I
but
just
you
haven't
really
got deep into it.
that one is one you really need to read about because he kind of talks about towards the end of it how um, we're turning into it instead of being lots of individual countries, we're turning into
Yeah.
one big world, which when you think about it is probably pretty accurate because of all the, like you said, globalization and like you can travel so freely, right, to most
Mm,
places, and the amount of ships and planes in the air and the sea moving people and things around at any one time
yeah.
is amazing. It's a staggering thing.
Yeah.
So it really is crazy to think that New Zealand's gone into lockdown, but necessary, but crazy.
For sure.
Um, and
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
uh,
Absolutely.
and you think about the world as a global whole rather than individual countries because that's kind of where we were at before this happened. Like you just can
Yeah.
travel and get so much content and so much experiences from all over the world that it's no longer just about your country that you're in.
Yeah,
um,
but
so
depending on what happens over the next like month, 3 months, 4 months,
mm,
year, 2 years, like countries could be in lockdown for a while. So
yeah,
maybe
I mean,
the
potentially, man.
virtual world could like increase exponentially. Like there'll be
Yeah,
innovation there. Like I'm
yeah.
sure, like we just jumped on a podcast. I'm sure there's
Yeah.
millions of others jumping on the online world,
Oh,
Skyping,
definitely, right?
conference
Definitely.
calling,
Yeah.
Zoom calls have gone through the roof. Like, and then there'll be some um, tech minds working on virtual reality. Like
Oh,
there'll be massive gains in the tech sector off the
oh,
back
and
of this, I reckon.
yeah, I reckon. I reckon some entrepreneurial type person will think of something, and it'll be the new thing, and yeah, man, like it's definitely, any adversity forces change,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I
Yeah,
heard this interesting thought the other day from someone doing a podcast. I think it was Robert Hollis. He said that the since New Zealand is an isolated country,
mm,
there's we have the capacity to become COVID-19 free earlier rather than later compared
mm,
to a lot of countries. So
mm,
off the back of that, we'll be able to do business internally in like physical locations. We can jump offline and go back to the offices. And so a
mm.
lot of businesses might start setting up physical offices in New Zealand just so that they can do business normally. You know, they don't have
Yeah,
to. They don't have
yeah,
to do it offline and come with all the inefficiencies, or maybe they can't move fast enough to rebuild their infrastructure within the business
yeah.
offline, so or
Yeah,
online rather. So it's just interesting times. See what happens.
yep,
The economy
exactly.
it will take a hit based on what's
Oh,
going on, but
undoubtedly, mate. Undoubtedly, that's going to be a massive hit. But like you said,
yeah,
there's all kinds of things on the horizon.
for sure, for sure. Any last thoughts or words of wisdom for the people of New Zealand and globally?
Globally, and
And
your
globally. I
global
got,
reach of the Daily J, say the global
hey,
reach.
I've got friends overseas, you know, they might be listening. Or when you're famous in like 20 years, like people will look back on this and
Mate,
find you, you know.
I'm coming to you, mate. You'll be famous before I will be. That's why I'm doing it, man. I get on this thing now, and when you blow up in 20 years' time, I can call back and be like, "Hey, I knew you when."
Yeah, yeah, we've got evidence.
Yeah,
That's
exactly, exactly.
the
Stay
way.
at home, be
Yeah,
smart.
yeah. Same
Yeah.
messaging, but it's
Same message,
important.
man. Same message,
Yeah,
man. Yeah, get fully behind it. The quicker we do it, the quicker we can be over this.
for
Let's do it.
sure.
Mm,
100%. All
mm.
right, Jordan, it's
All right,
been an
man.
honor and privilege. You've got
Yeah,
a wealth of knowledge into this industry,
I
and
hope
I'm
I have.
sure
Yeah,
a lot of people are thankful for your thoughts. So thanks for coming on. I'll
no worries,
catch you
dude.
soon enough.
Yeah, man. All
Stay
right.
safe, dude.
See you,
Peace
man.
out.